in the crushing dark of 4,000 meters, the pressure speaks a language felt in the bones.
Chen had descended 17 times, but the Sulu Trench's hunger never became familiar.
For 6 days, sonar painted a shape.
Far above, in the world of light and weather, her only tether was a fiber optic thread and faith. She slowed her descent, her lights grazing something of vast, ponderous bulk, not alive.
The manifest spoke of golden stepping stones, an odd tribute. But gold always made sense.
And there, through centuries and crushing depth, the gleam, the undeniable promise of gold.
She knew the team above would see it 10 seconds later. History, waiting in the beam.
Not a stone, a shoe, a slipper for a bound foot, cast in solid, perfect gold.
The craftsmanship was a masterpiece. Each curve told a story of beauty and of breaking.
10,000 golden shoes, a tribute of wealth, waste, and compressed suffering.
For 2 hours, she worked, documenting. The recovery would be complex, but the gold would fund it all.
Then, she began the long ascent back towards the world of light, leaving the past in temporary darkness.
6 days later, the recovery began. A robotic envoy descended to do the careful, painstaking work.
For 11 days, they worked in 12-hour shifts, 9,847 shoes, each one unique.
But retrieval was one thing. The ascent through 4,000 meters of hostile ocean was another.
The gauge climbed, measuring the ocean's resistance, the weight of water, the drag of history.
The ascent would take 40 hours, an agonizingly slow climb from a world of absolute pressure.
A storm gathered on the horizon. They needed the cage on deck before the seas turned violent.
At 800 meters, a hidden current shear grabbed the cage. The cable angled, alarms screamed.
For 40 minutes, she held her breath, willing the cable, the cage, the connections to hold.
The crisis passed. The cage continued its relentless, patient climb toward the sun.
At 300 meters, divers inspected the cage. It was perfect. The past was secure.
The final meters were the most delicate. The transition from ocean's embrace to air's full weight.
It broke the surface in a fountain of light and salt spray. A leviathan born from the deep.
The sound echoed like a tomb door opening or closing.
They were the first in 900 years to stand in daylight beside this cargo.
The cleaning began. Distilled water and soft brushes to wash away 9 centuries of the deep.
They worked through the night. Each shoe was documented, a life indexed, a pain cataloged.
Chen held the weight of history in her hands. Gold, soft enough to dent. Beauty, hard enough to break bones.
Did the goldsmith think of the foot he modeled? Did the woman know her suffering was immortalized?
The work continued. 9,000 stories of beauty and pain, waiting in the light.
The sea, vast and indifferent, surrounded them, ready to reclaim its treasure at the smallest mistake.
The sea keeps its secrets until it doesn't. It releases without judgment, leaving the meaning to us.
The past was retrieved. The golden shoes were safe. For now, the work was done.
And far below, the empty vessel was buried once more, a memory consumed by the eternal deep.
The wear here, she pointed out, isn't from walking. It's from being used as a master mold. His hands worked the clay, capturing every curve of the silk original. A template of pain.
Each pair was cast from a unique original. 10,000 women. 10,000 molds.
The analysis confirmed it. Nearly pure gold. The silver and copper were just ghosts of the alloy.
They found markings, characters for numbers, maybe workshop codes, perhaps even names.
She wondered if Willow was the goldsmith, the official, or the woman whose foot shaped the gold.
The ship sank far from the main coastal route. Was it storm, sabotage, or simply overloaded fate?
The gold, meant to buy favor, became ballast. It carried the ship and its secrets straight down.
Chen shook the vision away. The past was a powerful current, but her duty was to the present.
The storm window is closing. We make for port in 12 hours.
The final packing began. Each case was a world of its own, a sealed chapter of recovered time.
Chen signed the manifest, her name now attached to theirs, a curator of their second life.
They were secured in the ship's heart, protected from the coming voyage and the world above.
The Prosperity's daughter turned for home, leaving a patch of empty ocean marked only in memory. In the dark hold, they traveled, unseen but no longer unknown. The long journey into light had begun. The port was a chaos of noise and color, a stark contrast to the silent world they came from.
Formalities began. The transition from discovery to property, from artifact to heritage.
Chen felt a hollowing out. A purpose, so all-consuming for weeks, was suddenly gone.
The silence of her room was louder than the deep sea. The darkness felt more personal.
Mommy, when are you coming home?
In the lab's sterile light,
The final unveiling began. Science would now ask its endless questions.
They called for Chen. The message needed the one who first brought them into the light. It was defiance. It was grace. It was a voice, clear as a bell.
Willow. She knew her form would be copied, her suffering made monument. So she left a whisper of her spirit inside.
This changes everything. This isn't just a tribute. It's an archive.
The search expanded. If one shoe held a secret, perhaps others did too. A library in gold. They found more messages. Some were laments, some were recipes, some were just a name, a date, a claim to existence.
We recovered more than gold. We recovered voices. We are obligated to listen.
The exhibit was designed not around wealth, but around witness. One shoe would represent 10,000.
He watched strangers meet Willow's gaze across centuries, saw their understanding, their sorrow.
The journey from the abyss was complete. Not to a vault, but to the human heart.
The scrolls are rice paper, sealed with a resin. The gold protected them from bacteria. The pressure preserved them.
The compartments are masterworks of miniature engineering. They were meant to be found, but not easily.
By whom? The Emperor would never have melted them down. The goldsmith?
Perhaps it was a conspiracy of craftspeople, a silent rebellion cast in the tribute's very metal.
Her wall became a map of connections, not of trade routes, but of human intention across time.
Mommy, are you still working on the golden feet?
Almost done, sweetie.
She compartmentalized her worlds. The dark depth for her work, the bright surface for her child.
The research became an obsession. The shoes were no longer just artifacts. They were a puzzle of 1,000 pieces.
A colleague sent her a ghost's notes. The geologist had suspected the wreck's location was no accident.
What if the ship was never meant to arrive? What if the gold was meant to disappear?
The shoes scattered in the debris, were they from a broken jar or from a different source entirely?
Shoe 342, found alone, buried in silt. Its message was the longest yet recovered.
It was a plot. The provincial governor embezzled. The gold, with its damning hidden messages, was his fabricated tribute.
The captain and the craftsman were in league. They would sink the evidence, and with it, the governor's crime.
They were whistleblowers.
In the 12th century, they couldn't speak out, so they cast their accusation in gold and sank it. The ultimate safe deposit box. One that could only be opened centuries later, when the politics were dust.
The academic world erupted. The story transformed from archaeological wonder to historical crime thriller.
A romantic fantasy. The messages are merely prayers or poets' fancies. Where is your proof of this governor's crimes?
You have only cryptic scrolls.
The proof is in the pattern, and we are still looking. The deep sea hasn't given up all its secrets.
They returned to the darkness, armed with a new hypothesis. They searched not for a ship, but for a secret.
There, she pointed to a slight magnetic anomaly half a kilometer away. A concentrated metal signature.
iron, the real tribute from the province, the wealth the governor was supposed to send to the emperor.
He replaced taxable iron with priceless, incriminating gold. And then he made it all vanish.
The goldsmiths and the captain didn't just hide messages. They preserved the evidence of the original crime.
On the deck, the two truths lay side by side, the weight of theft and the weight of guilt.
Headlines now read, "Ancient #MeToo movement discovered in deep sea gold."
The exhibit became a monument to integrity, to speaking truth to power, however silently, however long it takes.
You gave them a voice beyond their pain. You completed their act of defiance.
They gave themselves the voice. We just now turned up the volume after a very long delay.
You gave the submersible too many lights.
It needs to see everything.
The darkness of the trench was now a family story. Stripped of... The world of the deep wasn't done with her. New signals in the dark, new geometric ghosts. A part of her thrilled at the mystery. A larger part felt the old weight, the responsibility of discovery.
She hit send. A quiet, definitive passing of the torch. The deep would have new interpreters.
The ocean was no longer a place to descend into, but a horizon to walk beside. A different kind of relationship.
It is. But this one is free.
The sea gives, and the sea takes. But sometimes, what it gives back.
Willow's defiance sparked a movement. Now, thousands of people touched a fragment of that story daily.
The conspiracy was complete. Its final goal, to inspire future generations, was being fulfilled.
The weight was lifted. Not forgotten, but integrated. A part of her history, not her entire present.
And so they pushed deeper into the jungle, past the giant ferns and the colorful parrots, searching for the hidden temple.
The Sulu Trench returned to its eternal rhythms. The secrets it had yielded were now part of the world above.
The hunt for understanding continued, led by new eyes, new hearts. The ocean's secrets are endless.
After wrestling with the pressure of the past, she found peace in the gentle weight of the present.
Some shoes are meant to be walked in. Others are meant to be found, to remind us we can walk at all. Time had softened the edges of memory, but the core of the story remained, solid as titanium.
Not of the deep. I dream of the ascent, of things rising slowly into the light.
The technology had evolved. Now, we could see the faces of the goldsmiths, hidden in the sheen.
Hello, she said quietly to the screen. The centuries between them felt suddenly thin. I hope I did them justice.
You didn't give them justice. You gave them understanding. That's better.
Will people still care about them in another 100 years?
The people who made them? Maybe not. But the idea they protected, that truth can't be sunk matter.
The frenzy had passed. The work continued, quieter, broader. The deep sea had...
The text read, "Found a different kind of deep. No gold, but the pressure's just right."
Life moved in its ordinary, extraordinary way. The past was a foundation, not an anchor.
The rabbit was very stubborn, you see, so the clever fox had to think of a plan. And do you know what he did then?
This is a story about listening, and about how some voices travel a very, very long way to be heard.
Not with sonar pings, but with a worried Hispanic goldsmith. Not with pressure gauges, but with a brave Hispanic woman named Willow.
Your grandfather built this house with his own hands, you know? He always said the porch was the most important part.
She had carried the weight. She had set it down.
The story had seeded a new explorer. The weight of guilt had become a compass, pointing to new depths. Her mission was different, to map deep-sea coral. But her approach was inherited, a reverence for the hidden.
The darkness was no longer just hungry. It was alive, fragile, and worth protecting. She drifted close to the coordinates, a ghost in the data, a place of family history, now a protected archaeological zone.
A new chapter of listening had begun, not for hidden messages in gold, but for the silent song of a living world.
Some stories are recovered from the past. Others are protected for the future. Both are acts of love for the deep.